teach me that?
Golly, Bob, howdy.
Oh, shut up. You know, in a couple of days, everything will be just the way it was. They'll see. They'll see. I'm still Andy's favorite toy.
Today we're going to be talking about the first Toy Story in honor of it being the holiday season, and a lot of toys are probably going to get bought this year. And I think this film came out around Thanksgiving in '95 too, so hey, it's sort of celebrating its 25th anniversary. It's 25. Woody and Buzz are old enough to rent a car.
Pull my string. The birthday party's today?
Where to start with this film? Holy crud. The first Toy Story, released in 1995, is such an influential animated film. You probably know it as it being the first feature-length, fully computer animated film to be released. It's the Snow White of computer animation. There's quite a bit in this movie. It seems simple, but there's actually complexity to it. Not Matrix level layers upon layers, but there's some. I guess in a way, people often attribute the CGI DreamWorks movies like Shrek and the like as introducing a lot of tropes that CGI movies would have throughout the last 20 years.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
But you know what? I think Toy Story was the first to lay the groundwork for it, because just beyond like certain jokes that adults are gonna get more than kids, there's like an underlying sort of like theme and sort of like subject matter and sort of appeal that I think adults are gonna get revisiting Toy Story, and I do too. I recently rewatched the film and it still holds up. The computer graphics, not really, but hey, you know, it's okay. You know what the good thing is? Pixar and every other creative person there, they decided to craft a story first and have it work in tandem with the CGI, so we can revisit it 20 years down the line, and here it is. So, John Lasseter had his priorities about his work, maybe not the other thing. Oof. Oh boy. Ew. Yes, growing up in the late 90s and the early 2000s, you definitely see a shift in theatrical feature-length animation, moving towards CG being the more popular one. And yeah, it all started with Toy Story. I was born in 93. This came out in 95. So in a sense, Toy Story has always been a part of my life in a small way. In a small but meaningful way, not a huge way. The series has always been in the back of me mind. I remember going to this theater when I was like 6 in 1999 and seeing Toy Story 2 with my dad and my brother. That was a fond memory. Movie-going experience, just laughing, eating popcorn. I think the theater closed just recently where I saw it, so that sucks. Toy Story 3, listening to like the hype for that. Toy Story 4 being like, okay. It appearing in other media. So yeah, for a whole generation of adults, this was their Snow White in a sense. This set the standard for how animated films should be in all sorts of ways. And I think a lot of what makes Toy Story work is that it has a combination of like old and new. A lot of the staff from Pixar did work in the animation industry before, and even at Disney for a time. So it feels like it does have elements of a Disney story, but it's its own thing, and it has elements of that it's bringing up and creating something, and it creates something new. This feels timeless in a sense. I'm thinking about the aesthetic and how you can label it into 1990s, but it's not strictly like it has to be 1990s. It has to be 1995. It feels like it can take place at almost any point in the last 30 years, last 50 years maybe. And I think part of that is like the main dynamic with Woody and Buzz being in this competition as being the surrogate father figure for this young boy.
Listen, light snack. You stay away from Andy. He's mine, and no one is taking him away from me.
What are you talking about?
As many cowboys and as many space rangers were that were growing up in the filmmakers' childhoods. Like, oh, John Wayne got replaced for like Buzz Aldrin, and the Man with No Name got replaced with Green Lantern or something. Both characters and their in-universe fictional brand things, as it were, brand narratives, they evoke those things, and I think that's a fascinating read of Toy Story. Because, yeah, John Wayne, like Western heroes, were seen as they had an impact on like young boys, and then the superhero came and it's like, wow, and stuff. Ah, man, Superman's cool, Green Lantern's cool. My dad, it's the Great Depression, and I'm away and my dad's away at war or the factory. But I think this dynamic is fascinating, and
My dad was a great show. I mean, why cancel it?
2 words. Sputnik. Once the astronauts went up, children only wanted to play with space toys.
I know how that feels.
there's also a lot of issues of existentialism. I'm alive, but why? Like a lot of like identity finding in this film. The characters come to a realistic sort of conclusion. Also, the conflict between Woody and Buzz, I think, is well done, and that also comes to a fitting resolution. Woody is the main character of this story. Luckily, he's portrayed in a way that makes him feel like a jerk, but not a jerk you hate. Does that make sense? Throughout the film, like the first part of the film, you see where he's coming from, and you can sympathize with him, but also at the same time, you are also thinking, oh, maybe you're overreacting a little bit. And then once the main plot gets into motion, you're like, Woody, what are you doing, bud? This isn't how you do it. Check out the Black Friday pitch for Toy Story. It's surreal.
I just thought that use this vast reserve of brain power to consider this for a moment. If it wasn't for me, Andy wouldn't pay any attention to you at all. In fact, my stretchy friend, you would have been hauled away to Goodwill a long time ago. So shut your mouth and get them off the bed.
Luckily, they made Woody not terribly a jerk in the final cut of the film. This is the meanest he's ever been in any official media, and he did he lightened up. Woody did lighten up as the films went on, but still, I still think he's likable, and at the end of the film, he does learn a lesson and is autonomous of his own actions, his sapient of his own actions, I don't know. That's cool. You know, a tenet of storytelling is that things change. Like, the universe needs to be somewhat different at the end of the story compared to where it was at the beginning of the story. Otherwise, there's no really satisfaction. They really got creative with the characters. Again, going back to, it's a simple change. It's a simple tweak, but it works so well. Mr. Potato Head, who's very like apathetic and grumpy because he just loses his parts all the time and is often portrayed as a villain in Andy's playtime, I guess. Ham, the piggy bank, who's like, I know everything, Buzz. I'm a little smart aleck. Rex, supposed to be terrifying T-Rex, but he's actually a big softy and a dork, and it's probably one of my favorite characters. Little side characters I remember, like the wrestler man, the robot, the working pair of wind-up binoculars, the creepy Sid's creations that leave a mark. Yeah, just every character and every line is just memorable in a way, and that's the hallmark of a good character and a good set of animated characters. They have to be memorable in a way. We remember Mickey Mouse, we remember Bugs Bunny, we remember Snoopy. It's also funny, like, it has such a unique tone from any animated film that was on the market at the time. Like, it's kind of snarky, but it's not so like nothing we're doing or saying matters. It's like, nah, it's invested in what it's trying to do. The human characters aren't really, well, the one true knock I can attest to Toy Story, like legitimately, is that the animation, not even that legitimately, is that the animation hasn't aged well. But you know what? Like I said, it's forgivable when the filmmaking stuff is good, when the storytelling is good. You know, like, do we throw out It's a Wonderful Life just because it's in black and white? Bullcrap. As long as you have like strong characters and a good story, you don't need to pull your hair out on how it looks. I don't think so. Fashion versus function, as they say. Yeah, Toy Story it's creative, it's great. It's the toys come to life story for many a person. Its story is interesting. Its themes and characters are memorable, and it feels like its existence is warranted. just like Buzz's is. He's gonna be a toy to Andy. Yep, that's Toy Story. I don't know what else I can say other than, hey, you struck gold, Pixar. Now what are you gonna do with yourself?
Thanks.
What'd you think about the video? What'd you think about Toy Story? Am I forgetting anything about Toy Story? I hope not, other than it made a lot of money. And I think I spoke everything I needed to say about it. So hey, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, maybe subscribe, ring the bell. I'm trying to get these things out, but hey, I would appreciate it if you do all the socials and comment maybe, telling me how much up my own butt I am about a story about dolls. So hey, I'm MaximumAustin, and until next time, always remember to keep being confident, and you enjoy your day.